strong in faith.
Faith can move mountains. Radio Maria, 91.3 FM.
The voice of truth.
Happy New Year, lovely people. We thank God for another beautiful year, for new beginnings, new intentions, new mindset, new focus, new everything. It's so nice to be here once again. We thank God for the gift of life. My name is Uche Chukwuma, and it's so great to be here, and it's so great to have you here once again on another captivating edition of Life Essential Talk, where we talk about marriage, where we talk about family, and indeed effective parenting. Last week was great. You had a good time with Clare. Well, today is not going to be different because of the topic we have today, titled Do Not Overly Criticize Your Child. Now, before I go into this conversation, I want us to look at the word criticize. What does it mean? It means to find fault with. It means to indicate the faults of someone in a disapproving manner. You know, a whole lot of people now will be wondering, why should I not be critical of my child? Is that not my obligation? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But the question is this, or the questions are these: how do you correct their mistakes? How do you show your disapproval? Do you overly or excessively criticize them? Yes, you are the parent, you're everything. You are the Oga, commander-in-chief, but do you respect these children when you correct them? Do you respect them at all? They always say that respect is mutual. When it comes to your child, it's very, very fundamental. So before I go deeper into this topic, please listen to this song and do not go away because we have a lot to talk about. Hi everyone, if you're just tuning in, this is Life Essential Talk on Radio Maria, the voice of truth. And the topic today is do not overly criticize your child. That is, do not excessively criticize your child. Now, before we went on that break, I asked a very simple question. I asked some questions. How do you correct your child's mistakes? How do you show your disapproval? Now, I need you to answer that question yourself. I need you to think inwardly, to think about it. How do you do that? You know, because so many parents are not getting it right. We need to understand how vital it is to help these children to make amends without making them feel demoralized or miserable, feel so bad. Yes, don't say it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters. If you want your child to listen to your criticism, then you have to do it right. Don't be, when you are with them, you don't have to be that end of discussion father. You don't have to be that end of discussion mother. Don't be an overly critical parent. Try to raise a confident child. It won't work. Lie, that thing no go work. There's no way you can be excessively critical and you raise a confident child. How now? How the thing go take work? How? Tell me. You know? So, raising these children into healthy adults is your number one priority. Anytime, any day. It doesn't matter the kind of work you do. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You have to raise them, groom them into responsible adults. That's your number one responsibility as a parent. Yes, you have that obligation to teach them how to conduct themselves. And part of this duty requires you to correct your children's mistakes. You want the best for your child, yes? And that means showing disapproval for certain behaviors, for certain choices they make, in order to encourage better choices and behaviors in future. It won't do them any good if you don't guide them properly. It won't be in their interest if you turn your back on them because you don't want this, you don't want that. No. The only thing we're talking about here is criticize them constructively, not excessively, not overly, constructively. Let them know what you're saying. Allow them to hear you when you're talking to them. Let them understand what you are trying to say. It's not blah, 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 blah. You say a whole lot. Still, the child cannot get a single thing from all that you have talked on, all that you have talked about. The only thing in that child's mind is, why is he talking like this? Why is she talking like this? What did I even do? That's what the child will be asking him or herself. What did I even do that daddy and mommy, or daddy or mommy, is talking like this? What did I do? So if you want your child to listen, you really want that child to say, oh, inside of him, you want that child to feel remorseful, then do not excessively criticize them. Do not excessively find fault with them. You, an adult. When you go to work and your boss is constantly on you, how will you feel? You, an adult. You know, when I say adult, I'm trying to bring in a whole lot of things. You're able to stand on your own. So when your boss is constantly on your case, you don't feel good. Not to talk of a child or children that are still vulnerable, very overly sensitive. Not to talk of their feelings. You don't even care because you feel you are everything. Well, which you are anyway. Which you are to your child. There's an old saying that the road to hell is paved with good things, good intentions. But all the same, you need to get it right. You need to get it right. Now, before we go into the impact of, this excessive criticism on your child, on your children, the negative impact, what it really does to them, the effect, let's really look at why some parents do this, why they overly criticize their child or their children. Some parents grew up not knowing any other way because they were treated the same when they were young. Their parents excessively criticized them. So they now grew up thinking that, oh, is that the best way to get this respect? To instill this discipline in these children by excessively talking? You now see them inflict the same thing onto their children because they know no other way. But I'm telling you now, if you are one of those that excessively criticize your child, please, it is not an effective parenting. It's not the best way to discipline your child. You hear some children, some youths anyway, say, oh, but this is how I was disciplined. I was disciplined this way, and that molded me into who I am today. But the question is, who are you? Who are you? If you're excessively criticized, tell me what is molding what into what? What is really molding you? You hear all lots of things when that criticism comes on. Everything will be combined to, even the ones that you did years back will be brought into the matter of that day. Even things that are not supposed to be brought up will be brought up just to pass a message. Is that how it's supposed to be? Is that how you, a parent, is that how you're supposed to discipline that young child of yours? By talking, and talking. So like I said, it's not good. It doesn't do any good. It can even affect your health. You see how people die nowadays? Sleeping. The person will just stand and fall. Bam! You don't know where the problems are all coming from. So be careful on how you criticize your child. And some criticize their children because of pent up frustration they have inside of them. They're not happy. When you hear self-talk of some people, you wonder if these people are human. Their self-talk can be horrible. Their self-talk consists of lots of personal nagging and criticism, pent up frustration. And when these children do something, wham, they put on everything on that child. Everything will come out. So it could even be the person's personality. It could be that inner critic, inner talk that is destroying or making that parent to be excessively the way he or she is. Could make that parent to excessively criticize his or her child. Because the self-talk he or she engages in is not good at all. Full of nagging, full of criticism, full of frustration. A whole lot of things. And when your child comes up with something, makes a mistake, wow, you excessively criticize that child. You tell the child what he or she is not even supposed to hear. Then afterwards, you now start saying sorry. That is, if you're that kind of parent. So parents won't even try it. They will say, how can they even say sorry to their own child? That child is not a human being, no. That child is not a human being. All right, so let's take this break. And when we come back, we'll look at, or we throw a deeper insight on how it affects the children. Don't go anywhere. Hi everyone, if you're just tuning in, this is Life Essential Talk on Radio Maria, and I have been talking about overly criticizing your child. I am Uche Chukwuma. All right, so the last phase I was in dwelt on why parents engage in, overly criticizing their children. Some parents might not be aware that this is what they do. They might not at all. And there are reasons that make them to overly criticize their child or children. And I mentioned self-talk. A parent might be there, having this self-talk. That is the way you talk to yourself, that inner voice in you. Some have very horrible inner voice that is so demoralizing, telling them how stupid they are, telling one how degrading you are, how bad you are, how negative you are. All those negative things will come up inside of you. And when you hear all that, you now vomit, let me use that word, vomit, all the frustration on your child, on your children. And in what manner? Excessively criticizing your child. So that self-talk that you have can be a reason for excessive criticism. Now, going into how it affects the children. Criticism is painful to hear. I've said it before. Even as an adult, if you hear harsh words, you feel bad. Not to talk of when you are excessively criticized regularly. Now, it happens to children to feel bad when they are excessively criticized. Harsh words can damage a child's self-esteem, self-respect, and create a tense environment at home. The worst thing you can do to a child is by creating an environment that is tense, an environment that is not noble, an environment that is not impressive. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be wealthy for you to have a loving environment. You don't have to have everything on this earth for you to have a loving environment. You can be okay with your life, and your children will be so happy that they are okay with you. Okay, you just have the basic things. Even if you don't have them, being with you, your children will feel fine. That is what we want. That is the kind of environment we're talking about. An environment that is noble, impressive, for your children to grow and grow well. You don't have to, you're a parent and say you cannot take care of your child. When they talk about children, you're number one to say all you have to say. But at home, you are horrible with your kids. Now, when parents regularly show this disapproval, always show disapproval, it can make any child to act out in hurt and resentment, to be rebellious. You now start wondering, why is this child behaving like this? You are the cause, because you're always on this child's case. There are some parents that do not know how to be diplomatic. Everything they see, they must say it. Everything. Bam, bam. Come, Chibuzo. Tomorrow, Chibuzo. Next tomorrow, Chibuzo. Haba. Why are you overwhelmed? Why are you overwhelmed? There are ways you can go about this. Sometimes when you talk, when you criticize, you allow that child to make up, to do the right thing. Just give the child a little chance to do the right thing. The child can still make that mistake, but don't be surprised if that child starts making amends. You don't need to say. Sometimes you might see a child, you say, Chibuzo, but you say, yeah, mommy, you just remembered now. Fine, you can see. Had it been you didn't say, that child could have maybe remembered to do that thing. But you might not even allow the child to correct him or herself. You start shouting, screaming, Lord of the house, causing problems here and there. Criticizing a child one too many times is just like criticizing an adult so many times. It's not ideal in any way, in any form. It's not. Like I said, it can end up making the child respond in an angry manner that will even upset you the more. That will make things to be more tense, if I can use that word, in your environment, in your home. And that is not what you want. I don't think there's any parent out there that does not want the best for his or her child. It's just that sometimes the way we go about it is not always the right way. But we always think there's something you need to understand as a parent. You can never be right at all times. You're also a human being, for goodness sake. And no human is perfect. So you can always make mistakes when it comes to correcting your children's mistakes. And that mistake could be overly, excessively criticizing your child. You know, children have the same need to reclaim their self-respect and dignity. Yes, just like an adult does. They always wonder. That is why sometimes when you excessively criticize your child in front of other people, in front of your friends, that child might never forgive you or even forget that incident just because you scolded him in front of your friends or even other family members. Just that mere act can make that child to feel horrible all the days of his life. I'm telling you, something as simple, let's say it's simple because that's how it will be to us, can make that child to feel so bad all the days of his life. And you know that constant criticism from a parent can result in an overly critic inner voice within the child. And that child's self-talk, that child's inner voice will be so demoralizing because, daddy, mommy said I'm stupid now. So anytime the child thinks of himself or herself, he will see himself as being stupid. She will see herself as being stupid because mommy said that he is a very useless boy. Because daddy said that she is a very useless girl. Somebody told me, a child once told me that sometimes when you talk about being successful, she doesn't see it as something that is possible on her own part, because her father has always told her that she's too soft, that she can never be successful, that she just go and look for somewhere, maybe get married and sit in a man's house. He even prays she will be a good wife. A father telling this to his daughter. This girl said it openly before every other person, that this is what my father told me. In fact, this is what he used to tell me. So she's about 22. So she's now at this age thinking that she can never be successful in anything. These are the mistakes we make, parents make. You think you are just talking, not knowing that you are planting something inside of your child. Do you know they listen to every word? When you're talking, if they're interested, they will listen to everything you say, looking for what to hold on. And if they hold on to that negative one, they will give it back to you. They might not say anything, but one day you hear them say, Mommy, this is what you said. Daddy, this is what you said. And you start wondering, when did I say this? Not knowing that you said that out of anger. You excessively criticized that child. So we shouldn't, look at this world, control these children in such a way that they feel suppressed, that they feel oppressed. You shouldn't suffocate them because they are your children with your unconstructive criticism, your excessive criticism. They should feel free. You are the father, everything. Their mother, everything to them. If they don't feel free with you, tell me, where will they be okay? And if they don't feel okay with you, you have not done anything. I'm sorry to say, you have failed. So you still have that chance. As long as there's life, there's hope to work on making everything okay. The more often this nasty cycle of criticism and lashing out repeats itself, the greater the damage it has on the child and on the family bond. Let's take this break. Don't go anywhere. Hi, wonderful people. If you're just tuning in, this is Life Essential Talk on Radio Maria, the voice of truth. And I have been talking about excessively criticizing your child. And we have been on it, on excessively criticize your child. I've said a whole lot why some parents excessively criticize their children. Reasons some parents indulge in that, engage in overly criticizing their children. And also I talked on the effects, how it affects these children. Well, staying on it. Well, I want to give you this. Research has shown, now I'm a research person, that parents who use strict authoritarian manner, parents who excessively criticize their children, actually produce children with low self-esteem and poorer behavior than those kids who are not excessively criticized. Now, I say research said, you can see that. And like I said before, just to remind you, when a child is constantly criticized, just to remind you, they become unable to internalize the self-discipline. They're unable to grasp the self-discipline and responsibility they need to thrive as adults. That is why I said, when you excessively criticize them, they hold on to nothing. And that's not what you want. They lose trust in the ability to guide their own selves, their own lives, because you have said a whole lot of things. They don't even know which one to hold on to. They are not sure again if they are equal, if they are capable, if they have that ability to be that person you really want them to be. And frequently criticizing your child can also teach them to bully others, because that's what they learned from you. They will see it as, okay, is that the only way? You see them doing the same thing to others. That is why in schools now, when you hear some children talk to their mates, you wonder, where are these children coming from? They got such behaviors from you, from us. They talk and talk. You start wondering, how? You don't need to look far. Just look around them. You'll see how. All right, so before I proceed, I need to open the phone line. So the number to call is 081 084 47518. 081 084 47518. Let's hear from you. Let's have your contribution. You can also send SMS, so you send your message via WhatsApp. Let's hear you. Let's have your contribution. Tell us more about excessively, overly criticizing your child. All right, so how can we as parents redirect our children's behavior? Okay, we have a caller. Hello. Please call us back. Thank you for calling immediately. Call us back. Still expected to hear from you. 081 084 47518. All right, so let's.
Good evening, Maria.
Hello, good evening.
This is the first time caller.
Hey, where's our bell? Nice to have you here.
My name is Moses Joshua.
Okay, Moses.
Calling you from Apo.
All right, nice to have you. So what do you have to say?
What a wonderful and interesting topic.
Thank you.
I'm a replica of the victim of the topic.
Okay.
In fact, may they also rest in peace. My mom and my dad, they are late already. But my life today is shaping as a result of their words using negatively in me right from the beginning.
Wow.
My father was the kind of person that once you step on his toe, he will not hesitate to use all sorts of means negatively.
Wow.
knowing that you are shaping the life of that person you are prophesying into. Once you get my father offended, you go to the extent of calling you names, devil, winch, such of names, raising calls. I'm in a situation that thank God that I find Christ. I'm battling with a situation that is a result of what?
You see?
Although I was brought up by my stepmom.
Okay.
So my stepmom and my dad, man, you can imagine the life of a 3-year-old boy who his mom left and was raised by his stepmom. And my dad was a person that he normally comes back from work late. A lot of negative work from my parents and my guardians was what I'm suffering out of today that is affecting my life.
You see?
And this thing now. But thank you for this topic and this radio. There's a lot of confidence that I've gathered from the topic tonight that I will never allow such negative that I can pass it already to affect my life any further. And thank you. God will reward us doing wonderful thing on this program. May you remain blessed in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Moses. Thank you for expressing yourself. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you. So I was going through some Bible.
Okay, please, what's your name first? What's your name? What's your name?
I close the Bible because it's very interesting.
Please, can you tone down the volume of your radio? I can't really hear you.
Is it?
Tone down the volume of your radio.
Okay, I've done that now.
All right. So what's your name? I didn't get your name.
So my name is Matthew.
Okay, Matthew.
I'm calling from the industrial area.
All right, Matthew. So let's hear you.
I say the topic is very interesting. Like I told my first son, sometimes I see bad when he's not doing exactly what I want. So immediately when I start shouting, you'll be confused. As you said, you'll be totally confused. So your topic today is really teaching some of us lessons. It's not everything you'll be shouting or be violent in at once with children.
Yes.
Sometimes when you bring them down, talk to them, they understand more.
True.
So I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I think this program always, I don't know, today is
every Wednesday. Yes, at 6:30 p.m.
I'll try as much as I can not to need it.
Please. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your good work.
Yeah, thank you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for that contribution. All right. So good to hear. Honestly, good to hear. Well, the number to call is 081 084 47518. 081 084 47518. You can send SMS or you send your message via WhatsApp. Let's hear you. Let's hear what you have to say. So, how can we, as parents, redirect our children's behavior in such a way that it does not get in the way of a healthy parent-child relationship? And like I said earlier on, one of the ways we can do this is by giving them constructive criticism. And there are a number of things we should remember when redirecting, when guiding our children, that will make our criticisms more acceptable and more effective, that will make our criticism not to be excessive, not to cause that damage that we parents, that you, a parent, does not want. Now, you should remember that children have feelings. This is probably the most important thing that you should remember. They have feelings. Just like you have feelings, that is how children have feelings. And very often, this is something that we forget. We don't even care. We don't even think about it. And when they are small, they are completely in our control. So be mindful of how you control them at that stage. It's easy for you to forget that, oh, they're still very young, still very vulnerable. That they have feelings that can be hurt. They have self-esteem, self-respect that can be crushed. Some parents might even say, or might even be saying right now, what self-respect are you talking about? If that is what you're saying at this moment, you're making a horrible mistake. Because you shouldn't crush that self-respect, that self-esteem. You shouldn't criticize them in a non-constructive way. Respect is mutual. So please respect them. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Nice to have you on the show. What's your name?
Thank you. My name is Agatha, calling from Uwa.
Oh, good to have you on the show, Agatha. Let's hear you.
Honestly, like the first caller said, I am also a victim of this.
Oh.
I grew up in a family that as a child, they don't allow you to express yourself. Honestly. And that really it's still affecting me today.
Yeah.
And now that they are expecting me to be talking, I am inside my shell.
Oh.
It's hard to come out.
Yes.
Honestly. So it is, even when somebody is with my own children, I try all my best to make sure that I don't say any negative words.
Yes.
With my children. Even if I'm discussing with my friends, there are things I don't say when my children are there.
Good.
Yes, because it is really bad. I am feeling the effect of it. Even when I'm with friends, at times it is very hard for me to talk, to say my mind.
Oh.
Because I will be scared whether I will offend somebody.
Truly.
Honestly. So it is very bad. It's very bad. Anybody that is doing that should try and adjust.
Exactly.
Like me, I'm trying my best. I don't want what I'm passing through. My children should pass through. I don't want it.
Nice.
So it's very bad. And now they are expecting me in my family to be saying something. Honestly. I can't really say it.
Oh.
Even if when I have what to say, I'll be scared maybe I will say what to tell somebody.
Yes.
Because they did not bring me up to
that
talk.
way. True.
So it is not good to say negative words to your children. And thank you very much for this kind of program. I really like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you. Thank you so much, Agatha, for expressing yourself. Thank you for not allowing that excessive criticism to hinder you expressing yourself at this time. Thank you so much. I'm sure you have done a whole lot for other people out there. Thank you. And thank God you're using it positively. You're not allowing it to affect your relationship with your children. You realize it was wrong, and you're pushing it aside so that it doesn't affect your relationship with your child. All right, so we have another caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Nice to have you here.
Yeah, the first time caller.
Hey, Wisdom Bell. Nice to have you. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
First of all, I want to say may God bless you.
Amen.
I say it again, may God bless you.
Amen.
I say it again.
Wow. Amen.
You see, okay, first of all, my name is Nchawa for Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Nchawa
for
Jesus.
Wow, beautiful.
Yes, I'm calling from Abu right now.
Okay.
I'm coming from Abu resettlement right now.
Okay.
So, what you just said, I would just imagine that what you are just saying to be carrying to most of our churches to parents. Because it pains me they do them, you know, I used to wonder sometimes if people really know what is in their heart.
Exactly.
I understand that most of us, the way we are trained in the hard way. But at the same time, that's not the way we should train our children, because their own time and our own time is not different.
True.
So because, like today, I was telling somebody that I was coming from Lube. I was listening to you from Lube.
Okay.
From the airport road until I reach here now. I was telling the person that most of the things you say here, my wife do make such mistakes sometimes. I was telling you what happened this afternoon before I left home. When I was here, I said, okay, let me go home. I had a small
Okay.
children, they came back from school, they couldn't allow me to learn. I said, okay, let me do small Bible study. I said, the children will just dance. I just came back. I was just in my own normal way. People will have to serve you. God will help you. But as I was there, sir, I was trying to calm down. But they couldn't. You understand?
Okay.
They couldn't stop. I just, okay, let me carry care. If they can see the pain, I
Stop. Okay.
But all these things that really talk to me, say, no, I know you will not flood the distance. Give me the case.
Okay.
So the thing, I said, no, I just keep so that they can be able to stop and stop the video for a moment. So, but what I'm trying to say here is that what sometimes there are some things, we do or say that somehow affect the children.
Yes.
Because like me, I always say, oh, have mercy on you. God will help you. If you say, God will bless you. Stop this, you say. You don't mention it. You don't enjoy yourself for your own good.
Yes.
But sometimes, some people don't do like that. I will not tell somebody how I hear who are calling the child idiot.
Yes, devil.
I will so tired and then squeeze out my mouth that day. But because you can't do that, they will ask you concern. So all those things, are not good.
Yes.
You must say as much as possible. I will hit you. I will do like this. My wife also is a victim of that. Sometimes say, at the end, I will hit you. And I say, please, man, don't do like this. It's not good because you might be saying the devil is another wicked, testing that. But you hear all this thing, the day you will do it, you don't know. Because don't see, before you know it, you must get in the hand. Out of that anger.
You now do what you didn't mean to. Yes.
So another thing I want to let our parents to know, don't use anger, to go to the children or to talk to them. They might be doing things which you don't like. But at that time, a child person, yes, he might be paying you. Once in a while, you might stand the child or take a sit down, like what I used to do in the watching cartoon. Sit down, you don't want this cartoon for a while, so that they will calm down. So our parents should learn. So all those things they have, they will do like this to a cause. Cause nothing that helps anybody. Because the Bible says, train a child the way he should go. That when he's doing what the Bible needs, the Bible not say, cause a child in the way he should go. It's wrong to cause a child or to start to a child, even the child is a thief. It's not good.
It's not good.
I don't know if there's a way I can get this message. I'm praying to my wife over and over so that she will calm down. I will like it.
All right, you just have to tell her. Thank you so much.
So that's why I say God bless you. I've learned a lot this evening.
Yes.
And I pray that God will help me also to do better.
Exactly.
As a father.
Yes.
I want to pray for my wife and other mothers and fathers to do well. In the name of Jesus.
Amen. Amen. For us all to do better. Truly, thank you. Oh, I can just feel, I just felt the passion. The passion, really, it can be so annoying. You call your child devil, you call your child witch, a child that you gave birth to. And when that child becomes the devil, you start crying, not knowing that that was what you used, what you have already instilled in that child, devil and witch and whatever. You have to control your anger. You have to control yourself. Excessive criticism will not do you any good. All right, let's take this very short break, and when we return, we wind up what we have for today. Don't go anywhere. All right, lovely people out there, lovely, lovely listeners. If you're just tuning in, this is Life Essential Talk on Radio Maria, the voice of truth. And I have been talking on, or rather about excessively criticizing your child or children. I have said a whole lot about it. I've even had contributions from concerned mothers and fathers out there. Very wonderful, profound contributions, life experiences where we thank God for giving them that courage to express themselves in such ways, because I'm sure it will help a whole lot of people out there. So one thing you also need to understand is this: the goal of proper criticism is to get your message across to your child. When you talk, the child doesn't hear anything, you have missed it. You have missed it. Before I proceed, let me call out the number to call in. 081 084 47518. Call us on 081 084 47518. So if you don't have an idea you are trying to convey, and all you are doing by criticizing your child is venting your own anger and frustration, please do not do that. You will do nothing positive for that child. If you don't know what to say, just be calm. You will get to know what to say. Just look at them. Be calm. Definitely what you need to say will come to you, instead of talking when you're so frustrated, because you will say things that you will regret. You will say things that you had no intention of saying, but because of that anger and frustration, you get so overwhelmed and you excessively criticize them. So have your message clear. Let them know what you're trying to say. Let them know what you want them to do right, and not just talking and making that child to start thinking of something else when he or she is supposed to concentrate on that message that you are trying to pass. Now, do not criticize the behavior. Criticize the behavior. Do not criticize the child. Criticize the behavior. Direct your criticism towards your child's behavior, not the child. When you start calling that child devil, when you start calling that child useless, when you start telling that child that he or she can never do anything right in his life or in her life, is that the behavior? No. You're making a whole lot of mistake if you direct everything on your child, on who he is, on who she is, and not on the behavior. You need to get it right. It has to be clear to your child that it is the behavior that upsets you and not him, not her. Sometimes when you overly criticize, child will start wondering, what is there? So you even hear, Mommy, did I do something else, or is it just this? I'm sure you must have heard that from any of your children. So please be careful of how you criticize your child. All right, so I have to wind it up at this time. I have to let you know, remind you again that you have an obligation to correct your child's behavior. Your children need guidance, yes. And it's a terrible example when parents allow their children to do whatever they like. However, correct them constructively. Correct them properly. Correct them effectively. Be careful of what you say. You heard the callers. If you had been listening, I'm sure you heard the listeners that called in when they said it has been with them. That criticism, that excessiveness, that excessive criticism has been there. Has affected them badly. So you need to be careful of how you criticize your child. You need to be careful of how you let out that thing inside of you. I'm saying it again, respect is mutual. All right, so to all our listeners out there, thank you so much for listening to Life Essential Talk on Radio Maria. Stay tuned for another interesting edition on Wednesday next week, same time, same station. Bye.